news tonight.
Uganda is indebted partially because of the recklessness of the deployment without even sanction of parliament.
Muhoozi Kainerugaba has been dropped from commanding the UPDF land forces after being promoted to the rank of general by his father, President Museveni. Members of the shadow cabinet plan to make parliament unruly if the government fails to produce abducted opposition supporters and activists.
To have this habit of having medical checkups.
Plus, Mulago Hospital launches wellness clinic to provide free examination and investigations for non-communicable diseases such as diabetes and cancer. And in sports, Kaliro Sugar has boosted the 6th round of the National Rally Championship with a 20 million sponsorship package. Good evening. Thank you for joining us once again. Welcome to CTV's PM edition. My name is Bernadette Apio. On sign language is Isaac Lochamuzi. In our top story tonight, first son Muhoozi Kainerugaba has been promoted to a 4-star general from Lieutenant General, becoming one of the few people with the highest rank in Uganda's military. General Muhoozi has also been dropped from the position of Commander Land Forces, which is the 3rd highest position in the army.
In a document released by the Uganda People's Defense Forces this afternoon, the President and Commander-in-Chief today announced that he had promoted Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba to the rank of General before dropping him from the position of Commander Land Forces, which will now be occupied by Lieutenant General Muhanga Kayanja, who has been promoted from the rank of Major General. General Muhoozi's promotion and drop from his post has come 24 hours after his messages on social media started to stir controversy, debate and raise eyebrows. General Muhoozi yesterday took to his official social media page on Twitter, where he proclaimed that it would take him and his army just 2 weeks to capture Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya, before going on a tweeting rampage. The tweets by the general did not only garner mixed reactions from people in both Uganda and Kenya, but also did not go down well with people from the neighboring countries, who even went out as far as hurling out insults. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs today also issued a statement in which it distanced itself from the tweets that were made by General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Reacting to the tweets by the general, the Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs, Nkunyenje Muwada, condemned the remarks made by General Muhoozi on Twitter, saying that they have raised tension between the two countries.
Will this be a trigger that the same force want to attack a neighboring country? We want to assume not, at least legally. Secondly, the army is a national army, not a personal army. Does the army now purport to operate as a personal army? 3, when it comes to regional and international sovereignty of nations, Kenya is a sovereign country. Any tweet allegedly attacking and posing a threat to the integrity and sovereignty of a country called Kenya is an act of war, is an act of aggression. We disassociate ourselves as opposition from such reckless statements, unfounded statements, idle statements, drunkard statements and irrelevant statements. They cannot be attributable to a national army called the Uganda People Defense Forces.
Muwada also revealed that General Muhoozi has no powers to declare any attack to any country without consultation from the parliament.
That the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda provides for the Uganda People Defense Forces, the UPDF. And under the Constitution, there is established a law, the Uganda People Defense Forces Act. In oral translation and meaning, the UPDF is a national army belonging to the Republic of Uganda and squarely to the people of Uganda. It is not a force that should be owned by a single individual, whether that individual being a soldier or being part of the defense forces, an officer, or being a commander whatsoever. It is the army and a national army for the Republic of Uganda. Whereas in the past we have seen the same force being...
In an engagement with journalists this morning at the Uganda Journalists Association offices, UPDF spokesperson Brigadier General Felix Kalaije reiterated that it is only the Commander-in-Chief and the Parliament that can declare a war against any state.
No general can declare war except the head of state and the Parliament. So for me, if my Commander-in-Chief has not spoken about war, I'm sorry, I have no comment to give.
According to General Kalaije, Uganda has no intentions of waging war against Kenya.
One, I've told you our method of communication, internal. Secondly, our method of communication externally is through my office, through the Minister of Defense.
At the moment, it is not yet clear whether President Museveni decided to drop General Muhoozi Kainerugaba from the position because of his controversial messages on Twitter. Chris Semakula and Sharon Twebaze, CTV PM Edition.
Still on that story, one may ask who the newly promoted general is. Well, President Museveni's son, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, joined the army in 1998. He attended various military schools like Kalama Armored Warfare Training School, Egyptian Military Academy, military academies in the US and South Africa, among others. Let's get more about the general.
General Muhoozi Kainerugaba was born on 24th April 1974 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, to Yoweri Museveni and Hope Raheru. As a child, Kainerugaba attended schools in Tanzania, Mount Kenya Academy in Nyeri, Kenya, and Sweden. After his father became president of Uganda, he attended Kampala Parent School, King's College Budo, and St. Mary's College Chisubi. He graduated in 1994. Muhoozi was admitted to Egyptian Military Academy, where he took both the company and battalion commanders courses. He also has attended the Kalama Armored Warfare Training School. In 2007, he was admitted to a one-year course at the United States Army Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, graduating in June 2008. Following that, he successfully completed the Executive National Security Program at the South African National Defense College. In 1999, Muhoozi joined the UPDF at the rank of Officer Cadet and graduated in 2000 from the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst, the British Army's officer training school. He quickly made promotion within UPDF, although many of Museveni's former NRA comrades such as David Sejusa and Kizza Besigye opposed this. In September 2011, Muhoozi was promoted to Colonel. In early 2012, Colonel Muhoozi enrolled at the South African National Defense College for the Executive National Security Program. In August 2012, he was promoted promoted to Brigadier General and appointed Commander Special Forces Command. In 2013 and 14, Muhoozi was one of the senior UPDF commanders who was deployed to South Sudan to support the government of South Sudan after fighting broke out in Juba between rival factions of the SPLA. In 2017, Muhoozi was appointed senior presidential advisor on special duties, a position he held until December 2020. In February 2019, he was promoted from Brigadier General to Lieutenant General, the second highest rank in the army, and in June 2021, Muhoozi was appointed commander of UPDF Land Forces, a position he has been in until today afternoon when he was promoted to the rank of 4-star general, the highest rank in Uganda's military, before being dropped as Commander Land Forces. General Muhoozi has since been replaced by the newly promoted Lieutenant General Kayanja Muhanga, who has been in charge of the UPDF army in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, hunting Allied Democratic Force rebels in a mission termed as Operation Suja. Kevin Kasoma, CTV PM Edition.
Thank you, Kevin. Away from that, opposition members of parliament who subscribe to the National Unity Platform are planning to make the House unruly if the government fails to produce opposition supporters and activists who were allegedly abducted by various security groups. The politicians say government seems to have a plan to break the back of opposition parties, mainly NUP, by using security forces to arrest and detain their supporters.
Uganda marks the 6 years of independence. The shadow cabinet in parliament has condemned the continued abduction of Ugandans over unknown reasons. The shadow minister for internal affairs, Abdallah Chiwanuka, together with the shadow minister for security, Derek Nyeko, says that despite government's commitment to account for the missing persons, the abductions have not stopped.
As you are aware, we are slated to celebrate the 60th Independence Day this coming Sunday. Ugandans are still being abducted, tortured, and killed without trial.
Who are these people that are abducting Ugandans that the ministers cannot account for? Where are Ugandans that are being abducted? Who is in charge and who keeps giving these orders? Is it the first son?
They have demanded the creation of a parliament select committee to investigate the abductions and enforced disappearance of the people. The lawmakers says Human Rights Committee of Parliament has become toothless as far as fighting for the rights of Ugandans is concerned.
We want opposition to take over the management of Human Rights Committee because it is one of the oversight committees. As we are taking oversight of on Kosase Park, Central Park local government, we believe as far as oversight in human rights is supposed to be the mandate of the opposition. So whatever is taking place is being influenced by the regime. Why select committee now? As we are pressing to take over the Human Rights Committee to be managed by the opposition, we believe we need a select committee to investigate what happened with the security forces, what takes place when these people have been abducted.
They say if Parliament fails to raise the occasion, they will resort to all possible means to make the House listen to them.
We want to assure Ugandans is that we will make this Parliament unruly if at all the people that are not abducted, that the people who are abducted are not freed. We need to know the whereabouts of these people, whether they are dead or alive. We need them to be brought to courts of law so that they can get justice. So we are going to make this Parliament unruly. However much we join Ugandans who are willing to demonstrate, who are willing to stand up because the institution of Parliament has not been respected by the executive, by the ministers, who continuously come and give us reports and request us to feed them with a number of people that have been abducted, and yet their forces are the ones abducting these Ugandans.
A full accountability of all missing persons within 1 month. They also made an undertaking to stop abductions, much as the vice is still ongoing. They asked us to furnish them with the full particulars of missing persons, and we undertook to avail the same by Friday this week.
According to the UPDF spokesperson Brigadier Felix Kulaije, security agencies do not abduct but make arrests according to the law. Kulaije says all the abducts will soon be produced in courts of law.
Doesn't abduct. The state arrests. Okay? The methodology may be different, or the methods used may be different, but the state can't abduct. I remember before I became spokesman, there were issues about where have the people been taken. That has since changed. When somebody is picked, within 2 days or third day, the person is in court of law. True or false? So even the method will improve. That's what I assure you. We have young men who are excited, and we are trying to tame them, to do the things the way we used to do them. We have survived for these years because of doing things in a disciplined way.
Last week, in a meeting chaired by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Taibwa, opposition promised to submit particulars of the abductees to Parliament. On Monday, NUP paraded relatives of the victims who were abducted, and their whereabouts are unknown from November 2020 to date. Sarah Nakandi for CTV PM Edition.
Internal Affairs Minister Major General Kahinda Otafire has blasted security operatives who arrest suspected criminals before carrying out evidence to implicate them. He says the practice is not only illegal but wastes state resources and time. Flavian Nkuze has more.
On several occasions, Ugandans have been arrested on several criminal charges, but most of them are later found to be innocent. The practice, according to Major General Kahinda Otafire, means that security operatives are either not up to the task or they carry out their work with malice. He says it's wrong for suspects to spend months and years on remand and then released because the state fails to pin them.
Tell those gentlemen that I'm tired of unlawful arrests and false imprisonment. And that when you do that, not only do you break the law in causing an unlawful arrest of a citizen, you also commit the crime of abuse of office. You are using your office to hurt an innocent person. So from now on, let's agree that arrests shall follow investigation. And if anybody goes to court for unlawful arrest and false imprisonment, and they succeed, you will be on your own.
Otafire was speaking to prosecutors in the Director of Public Prosecutions, who are mooting a plan that will see suspects tested for various diseases before being jailed. He also decried congestion in most prisons, saying it's alarming.
We are working with my colleagues in the Ministry of Finance and the prison system to make sure that we relieve of this congestion by expanding prison space.
The Deputy DPP, George William Biansi, says the plan to test suspects for various diseases is aimed at stopping the spread of diseases in prisons.
The first point of contact with the public and the criminal justice system is the police stations, where people are arrested and taken into detention, from where they are processed and maybe they end up in court or prisons. So at this point, if we do the testing and know who is okay and who is not okay, who needs help, who needs medication, we believe we can save that very person and also save the others that could get into contact with him and end up contracting.
The plan will be implemented in 16 police stations before being rolled out across the country. Flavian Nkuze for CTV, PM Edition.
PM Edition takes a short break and returns with more after. Don't go away. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching a PM edition. In other top stories of the day, government has again come out to dispute resolutions that were recently passed by the European Union Parliament to delay the construction of the East African crude oil pipeline until some salient issues are settled. The European Parliament resolved that the project should be delayed for at least 1 year to find an alternative route that would not affect the ecosystem, as well as a review of alleged human rights abuses.
The European Union Parliament said drilling activities in the protected and sensitive areas such as Maxon National Park would have long-lasting negative impact on the area's biodiversity. They stated that Ugandans who lost land the project were not fairly compensated in accordance with the current market value of land. Peter Lokeris, the State Minister for Minerals, told journalists at the Uganda Media Center that the concerns raised by the European Union Parliament were baseless. However, Lokeris says such reports contain falsehood, distortions, and the European Union parliamentarians showed limited knowledge about Uganda's oil.
It is a blatant display of limited knowledge and about the realities of Uganda oil and gas projects. According to Lokeris,
The pipeline project is designed to follow strict laws that relate the environment, and it's designated not to harm life. He says over 2,662 persons have been compensated, 183 houses reconstructed, and farming communities given land to continue with their daily activities.
Which is the subject of the resolution, has been designed to minimize immediately harming the livelihoods of farmers, fisher folk, and tourism business owners who depend on the region's rich natural resources.
Hani Malinga, the commissioner upstream petroleum, said the project affected persons have been settled in areas that have better social amenities such as schools.
Let us have an estate-like infrastructure where we have the water facilities or the utilities. There's water, there's electricity. If you go to Chakawoga, there's even a police post where they had one school, one block for the school. We have put 8 blocks. There is a market. You mentioned it.
As the oil project controversy rages on, it is not clear which side is likely to change their position on the project to have a win-win situation. Conrad Anita Simwe, CTV, PM edition.
Mulago National Referral Hospital has launched a wellness clinic to provide free examination and investigations for non-communicable diseases like diabetes and cancer. According to Dr. Charles Solaro, the clinic is aimed at preventing future emergencies and reducing referrals abroad.
60th Independence Anniversary, Mulago Hospital has opened a wellness clinic that will run from today to October 7th at no cost. The objective of the clinic is to promote healthy lifestyles by offering guidance, counseling, and screening of diseases. Dr. Charles Olalo says the clinic is aimed at engaging the community to appreciate the purpose of screening for such diseases.
The Wananchi will only appreciate these institutions if they see what are the benefits which they can do. Otherwise, they may think that it's only for special people who come.
If detected in early stages, some diseases like cancer can be treated before damaging the body.
Because it only will make sense if people will come for the what? For the services. Many people just pass here. It's only when things don't do very well. That's when they use Mulago as the last resort.
So we encourage the public to have this habit of having medical checkup so that we can know how our bodies stand.
According to Mulago National Referral Hospital Acting Director, Dr. Rosemary Byanyima, today they have attended to 350 people.
134 had investigations in radiology, and majority of which were ultrasound scans. Then for pathology, they handled 11 samples, I may say, and 8 of whom were screening for cervical cancer. The laboratory has carried out tests on 192 specimens. Majority were testing for lipid profile and random blood sugar.
Ugandans will be able to undergo voluntary routine medical checkup at Mulago Referral Hospital. Shomimnatibo Wetendo, CTV, PM Edition.
In news from the region, Kenya has lifted a ban on genetically modified crops in response to the worst drought to affect the East African region in 40 years, while an attack by Islamist extremist fighters on Somali government headquarters on Monday has left 20 dead and 36 wounded.
For the last 4 seasons, the annual rains have failed across Kenya, Ethiopia and Somalia, forcing 1.5 million people to flee their homes in search of food and water elsewhere. A statement issued by President William Ruto's office after he chaired a cabinet meeting described lifting the ban as part of the responses to the drought. Cultivation and importation of genetically modified white maize is now authorized. Cabinet vacated its earlier decision of 8 November 2012 prohibiting the open cultivation of genetically modified crops and the importation of food crops and animal feed produced through biotechnology innovations, effectively lifting the ban on genetically modified crops, the statement reads. It said Kenya's cabinet had considered expert and technical reports on biotechnology, including United Nations agencies, the World Health Organization and Food and Agriculture Organization in making its decision. Kenya has been reluctant to approve the import and planting of GM crops amid ongoing concerns about possible health risks. The cabinet decision comes after one in 2019 to approve the commercialization of a genetically enhanced variety of cotton that is resistant against African bollworm. An attack by Islamic extremist fighters on Somalia government headquarters on Monday has left 20 dead and 36 wounded. The Somalia-based Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the attack in Belendwayne, a town more than 300 kilometers north of Somalia's capital Mogadishu. Earlier on Monday, Somalia's government announced the death of a top Al-Shabaab leader, Abdullahi Nadir, over the weekend. The government said the attack had been carried out in partnership with the U.S. military in southwest Somalia. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned the attack and reaffirmed the UN's commitment to peace in the country.
On the international scene, North Korea has conducted its longest ever weapons test, a nuclear-capable ballistic missile that flew over Japan and could reach the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam and beyond, forcing the Japanese government to issue evacuation alerts and hold trains. Here's more. The South Korean and U.S. militaries responded by launching fire jets, which fired weapons at a target off South Korea's west coast in a show of strength against North Korea. North Korea has test-fired about 40 missiles over about 20 different launch events this year, as its leader, Kim Jong-un, refuses to return to nuclear diplomacy with the United States. South Korea and Japan earlier said the missile had an intermediate or longer range. If the launch involved a long-range missile, it could be a test of a weapon capable of targeting the U.S. homeland, some experts say. The launch is the 5th round of weapon tests by North Korea in the past 10 days. The testing spree is an apparent response to 2 sets of military drills, one between Washington and Seoul, and the other involving Washington, Seoul, and Tokyo off the Korean peninsula's east coast last week. North Korea regards such drills involving the United States as an invasion rehearsal. It was expected to react strongly this time because both exercises involved a U.S. aircraft carrier, which North Korea views as more provocative. Japanese authorities alerted residents in its northeastern regions to evacuate to shelters in the first J alert since 2017, when North Korea fired an intermediate-range Hwasong-12 missile twice over Japan in a span of 2 weeks during a previous run of weapon tests. PM Edition takes another short break. Don't go away. Sports is up next. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us in sports tonight. Kaliro Sugar has boosted the 6th round of the National Rally Championship with a sponsorship of 20 million shillings. The 6th round, organized by the Central Motor Club, will take place from November 11th to the 13th in Jinja, Uganda and Nakalama.
The 6th round of the National Rally Championship will finally go ahead next month after being postponed from September. Kaliro Sugar, who are the main sponsors of the event, revealed a 20 million sponsorship deal that will go towards the organization of the 2-day race. Alfred Mutanda, who is part of the Central Motor Club as well as the clerk of course for this rally, commended Kaliro's support.
Postponed event was a one-day event, but this is now going to be a 2-day event. With the first, there's going to be a total of 5 sections, of which one is going to be repeated. And the stages are supposed to really, reflect the simplicity with which we want to approach this event.
The entries for participants in this round opened today, with various drivers who are still in contention for the championship expected to take part, with the deadline for registration on November 4th. Two-wheel category driver Gilberto Balondemu confirmed his participation. Balondemu participated in the Rwanda Gorilla Championship last weekend, finishing 14th overall and winning the two-wheel category. He says that this performance will help him go to Jinja next month oozing with confidence.
Last weekend, we went for Mountain Gorilla as well. Mountain Gorilla, that's an ARS event, 2020, and we finished in 14th position overall. And we won the two-wheel category. So we are trying now to prepare. We are calling upon all our sponsors, friends, to see that they can come in and help us, sponsor, so that we can prepare our car and get ready for Kaliro CMC rally.
Balondemu, who won the two-wheel East African Championship in 2017, is optimistic of putting in a good performance based on the fact that he was born and raised in Jinja.
Being that I'm international now, I'm an international rally driver, you find I have so many fans in Rwanda, I have so many fans in Uganda, and I have so many fans back home. So I expect so many fans and many friends to come and cheer me up in CMC eventually. Come 13th, 11th to 13th of November.
This will be the second last round of the National Rally Championship, with Posiano Rakataka still leading the standings. Behind him is Duncan Mubiru, who won the 5th round in Masaka. The final round of the NRC will be hosted in Bali in December. Noah Walakira, CTV, PM Edition.
That was tonight's edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. PM Edition returns tomorrow, same time. From me, Bernadette Pio and Isaac Luchamuzi on Sign Language. Good night.